Good evening, everyone. I'm Huma Sufyan. I'm Community Manager at Career Naksha and Council of India. A warm welcome to Ma'am Mrinal Pareek Ma'am. The topic she is going to speak on build strong self-worth, that means unleash your full potential. Uh, Very warm welcome, ma'am. A good topic that is very needed, and I just want to tell something about Mrinal ma'am. That Mrinal ma'am is a biotechnologist and innovation leader turned transformation coach, founder of GaloreUs, an organization focused on building mind-fit leaders since 5 years. She coaches executives to become thinker with aligned emotional intelligence and thoughtfulness. Being a family person and spiritually grounded believer in equality for all, she is on a mission to redefine our broken societal setup by creating a new breed of empowered women who have the belief to have it all and become glorious. She is the founder of Glorious Women Hub, a unique community exclusively designed to support women to unleash their glorious versions by building holistic relations inside out to attract clarity, freedom, and equality in all walks of life. Very strong, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for your valuable time that you are giving to us. The whole show is yours, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Huma, for being so generous and clear in introduction. Thanks. I welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us live today. This session is all about you. So, the only investment that you have to make in unleashing your full potential is powerful content. All my experience with coaching, people management, has got me with all of these information, knowledge, and insights that I am going to be sharing with you today. If you want, you can grab a pen and a paper to take notes, work alongside, and figure out how this can help you unleash your powerful versions so that you can become successful. So, without wasting a moment, we quickly begin. So, Huma has described that I am on a mission of building holistic relationships, right? Now, what does holistic relationships means? Holistic means whole. That is, we are complete. Now, humans are social beings, and what makes them complete is also the society. So, the most important thing that we have to align while we bring that holistic relationship is ourselves and the society alongside. Now, as we do that, we have to hold our entire self, that is our mind, energy, emotions, and actions in alignment. And that can only happen if we have complete clarity. Now, that complete clarity and that alignment is where your entire potential lies. How you think, how you emote, how you act, how you work, how you take actions defines how your results are going to become, right? So, today we are going to be going deeper into understanding how we can build these holistic relationships from an angle of self worth point of view, because that is the foundation of how we perceive ourselves and how we come across to others. Okay, so I would be sharing some strategies, some tools on getting you home, on unleashing your potential by building that strong self worth. Okay, here we begin. So, quickly, what will you get? Because the most important thing is find whosoever you are, but what is it that you are going to give me for me, right? So here is what we learn. We learn what self-worth is, why that holds importance in building you and your success, your happiness, and your peace. I think these are the most important things that anyone wants, right? Now, when we work on this thing, on why, we need to understand where is it that we lose it, how can we protect it, and how is it that we can increase it. Once we understand all of this, the next quick question that is going to come to you, all of you at the end, is what next? So, I'm going to cover all of this, and we have a lot of ground to cover today in the 1 hour that we are going to spend today. So I want all of you to bear with me, be with me with a pen and a paper, take notes. Questions we will be taking towards the end. So keep taking notes on whatever questions you might come across, whatever questions might come to your head while you are listening to all this information. and I would be happy to answer it towards the end. So, with that stage set, we begin. Okay, now let's declutter everything and focus on one thing. And that one thing is that each one of us sitting here wants to be successful. Correct? No doubts about that, right? Is there anybody who wants to say, no, I don't want to be successful? I don't think so. And success, before I, move forward, also is a definition that we hold in our head. A woman who works towards the betterment of her family by devoting her entire life in doing house management is successful if she wants to pursue her life that way. So, whatever we decide we want to do, and we do it with success, that is, we achieve results in alignment with what we want, is defined as successful, right? Now, to some of you, the success might be defined as your career success. To some, it might be defined as parameters of living with peace, happiness, living a healthy life, whatever that parameter is. Each one of us wants to be successful, right? Now, the important thing that we have to understand is the three big mistakes that we do on this journey or called life that stops us from being successful, becoming the success that we are capable of. The big mistake one is not being focused on gaining clarity. The entire thoughts, minds, and our conversations that we are having in our head are actually causing and creating confusions. Looking at somebody's success, looking at somebody's growth, we get confused. Is this what I want or is that what I want? So, not having the foundation clarity of what it means to you is the first big mistake that we have. And that compounds on every aspect of how, when, what, why that we do on this journey. And we don't have clarity. One is not being, a lot of excuses in our mind, subconsciously and consciously, that stops us from making choices and decisions. Third is we feel pulled in different directions. Mom says, do this, dad says, do that, teacher says, do that. I don't know what is it that I really want in my life. And that we lose our happiness and peace on the way, right? This is what happens and very common. Big mistake two. We are the biggest vehicle of our success. And if we lose trust in our own mightiness, our own capabilities and capacities to perform our powers, is the big mistake. It makes us dwell in self doubt. It makes us seek external validation. We're constantly looking for approvals, appreciations on the outside to make us approve of me. If they give me that, I will sit grumpily, I will stop making progress, I will give up, I will quit. We are ignoring our needs because constantly we are looking on the outside. And all of these things are fairly common. Stacking stats as we move forward. Now, big mistake three that we do is allowing everybody sitting outside of us, that is, external influences, to run the show of our life. What they say defines how we live. How they live their life defines how we want our life to be. What they judge us to be defines how we are going to feel in our life. So, the entire life, our energies, our emotions, our thoughts, our actions, they're all getting impacted by how people outside, environment outside, all these external influences are working on us and impacting us. We'll come to this very big important part as one of the tools and strategies as we move forward. Now, what this does is it causes a lot of resentment. We get overwhelmed with a lot of responsibilities that are thrown onto us. We try to fit in the molds of definitions and societal norms that have been, set around us. This person can get upset. Oh, if I don't do this, this will happen. All the repercussions and fear-driven motivations that, constantly mount on our head and drive the show. And we feel too obligated to live up to all those expectations, responsibilities, roles that have been thrown onto us without even giving us the space to ask the question why this is important. Now, what does this do? This leads us to feel lack of energy and vitality. We are mentally fatigued, surrounded with a lot of negative thoughts. We feel stagnated sometimes, not performing to potential, compromised, sometimes victimized. My life is so miserable. I have to do this because if I don't do this, this is going to happen. My parents are not going to approve this. My husband is not going to approve this. My wife is not going to approve this kind of things. And too many conflicts in our relationships. Now, what is all this leading to? This is all leading to missing peace and happiness in our life. Now, tell me one question. Can we live our best life with all of these things in our head? If all these things play a role so enormously in our lives, would we be the best versions that we can be? It's a no brainer. We won't be. And this is where our potential gets compromised. We're capable of reaching here, but we keep wandering here, figuring out how to fit in, how to normalize, how to keep everybody happy, how to satisfy this person, how to live up to the basic norms of society, how to live up to the definition of who I need to be, kind of thing, right? And here is all the losses that we are bearing in our life. Now, here's the stats. There are many studies out there which establish the fact that 90% of Indians, doesn't matter men or women, 90% of Indians have low self esteem. Signs that we ignore very casually. Sense of entitlement, I deserve this kind of attitude. Suppressed expression. Men cannot cry, men cannot express this emotion, men cannot show themselves weak, women cannot do this. Only I am living with problems, constantly vocalizing our problems as something that is so unique to us, victimizing ourselves. Going out, living with dominance. It can be in the form of patriarchy, it can be coming from position, it can be coming from how we want to show ourselves as the most powerful person in the room. All of those things. Compromise. Constantly women, men, they say, oh, I can't do this, I have to compromise on this level, because if I don't do this, how will my family live like that? मैं ये नहीं करूंगा या मैं ये नहीं करूंगी तो मेरी जिंदगी कैसे अच्छे से बीत सकती है, मेरे बच्चे कैसे खुशी से रह सकते हैं, मेरी वाइफ कैसे खुश रह सकती है, मेरा हस्बैंड कैसे खुश रह सकता है. So constantly giving ourselves the reasons to compromise, not finding a solution for win-win, is a sign of low self-esteem. Pleasing, doing things to win acceptance, doing things by compromising needs to win other people's acceptance and accolades. There's a difference between doing something as kindness, as responsibility, but doing something to win accolades, to set yourself up on pedestal. When that happens, it has a detrimental impact on our self-esteem. If we are doing it to win acceptance, because then what we are doing, we are allowing ourselves to look outside for validation. We don't feel confident in our skin if others disapprove of us. One upping. If somebody says, oh, I can do this, we constantly get triggered to prove that no, I can do one plus that thing, so that I appear as the mightier person in the room, I appear as more powerful, I appear as more dominant. Now, all of these things we tend to kind of casually ignore in our life. That isn't this the normal way of living? But imagine how much impact is it having on you and your perception of what capacities and capabilities you hold inside. Here is a difference that I want to bring to your attention, that in our society, we might feel that men and women are very different. But here is one congruence that comes. In our entire society, be it men or women, the attitudes are fully aligned. Men should be doing and holding the primary responsibility of expenses of the house. Women should obey husband. Those kind of norms, they are equally agreed by men as well as women. Now, what this does is all these shoulds and all these pressure points create so much influence in our head that we stop exploring the possibilities. We don't operate on our strength, but we try to just fit in this mold. Men of the house, go, earn bread, win the bread for the family. Women of the house, you just have to comply to whatever the men of the house have to say. Men in the family, hold the primary responsibility for the money. They should be the righteous heirs of the family's wealth. They should be the primary caretakers of the parents. So all of these things, all the genders are complying to. So what impact does that have? The impact that it has is that all of these biases that we hold, this is some data, but similarly we have this mounted on our head as part of societal influence. Let's zoom into females. 50% of female adults undergo some or the other psychological issue because of all these pressures. They have low self esteem because of the body image, and men are not far away. Men also undergo the same kind of pressures. If they are not earning well, they would have psychological issue. If they feel that they are not doing enough for the family, they will have psychological issue. And there is nobody who doesn't have that kind of pressure from the society. There would be judgments passed on to us. Now, imagine if we don't have the strong grounding of belief in ourselves, and if we don't have the right filters to hold on the societal influence, what would it make of us? We would constantly be living in pressure cooker situation, right? And that is where the key role of self-worth comes into play. There is also another important data that I showed in the previous slide and this slide, that the belief system that women hold in their mind is inclined towards accepting everything that is coming to them. And the same goes with men, but in a different angle. They believe that this is how the life should proceed. Men should show themselves to be more powerful than women, or men should hold these many responsibilities. Men cannot break out of their molds and show their real self, otherwise they will appear weak. Now in that pressure of showcasing themselves to be somebody they're not, they're losing their vitality, they're losing their whole potential, because they're not owning themselves fully, because they don't feel worthy of expression. They don't feel worthy of expressing their emotions. They can only express a certain set of expressions, to be showing dominance, to be showing power. Now, that takes away the entire essence of even living like a human. And what happens? They are constantly meddling with their issues right here inside their head. They can't even go out and speak and seek help from people. They can't show the right emotions to outside world, right? Now, with that, let's jump into understanding what is the goal that we are all here for. We all want freedom, right? We all want to feel free to choose, create, explore our lives. We all want to grow. We all want to see possibilities and expand on from where we are to become better versions, better in careers, better in life, better monetarily in all walks of life, right? Isn't it? And we all want to be treated well, right? There is no contesting in that we don't want that. All of us want that, and we deserve it also. Now, if we want all of these things and we are constantly seeking outside, and we are living with those three mistakes constantly, of not having clarity on what we want, how we achieve that, of not trusting ourselves and constantly looking outside, then we are losing the proportion here of creating that solution. Now, what is it that we can do to create solution? Fine, enough of problems, enough of societal influence, enough of what that data says, but what do we do about it? Here is a system. People fail, systems succeed. That is the ground rule everywhere, right? So we are humans. We can fail individually. But if we follow a system, there is a high chance that we are going to break through all of these challenges. So the first and most important thing is cut around the first mistake that we are holding. That is, build clarity. Build clarity on your desires and actions. So today what we will be learning as part of self-worth is understanding self-worth itself. We'll have utmost clarity on what this self-worth is doing to us, where is it going, what is happening around it. The second thing is honoring our being. That is feeling empowered in having a very strong and powerful relationship with ourselves, so that our emotions, thoughts, and actions can align and we can perform to the optimum. We work towards becoming the best versions of who we are. And in order for that to happen, we need to have a very powerful relationship with ourselves, so that nobody can shake the self belief that we have in us, right? So, a strong, powerful self belief. And the third one is having very strong, powerful boundaries. How we have fences around our houses that nobody can come and trespass our boundaries. We need to have powerful, healthy boundaries around us so that the influences can get filtered, that they don't have detrimental negative impact on us and our being. Now, this is the solution. Now, very well, how do we create this solution? Here is the thing. Now, I'll just quickly tell you my story. And with that story, I only want to tell you that there is something more and beyond what we perceive success to be. Okay, I have 10 years of corporate leadership experience. I have 5 years of transformation coach experience. Now, that is the statistics, and that is how I am defined in front of people. This is how I was introduced also to all of you. But is that who I am? Think about it. Is that who I am? I am a human before that. I am a woman before that. I also have a personal life. I have so many dimensions to who I am. But if I disown all of that and associate only with this aspect, will I be living my life fully? No, right? So, my worth, all of us see worth associated with the successes and the achievements that we have made. But is that who we are? No, we are more and beyond. Now, I've been educated at top institute. Is this my worth? No. Again, no. These are qualifiers, but these are not what defines me. This happened as some life stages of who I become, what I am becoming capable as part of my skill sets. That's it. That's about it. But this doesn't define me. I, as a young teenage girl, saw being a girl as a lesser being. I thought being a girl is a lesser human because there were experiences like molestation, there were experiences at home when grandmoms were kind of, labeling us as girls and, thinking, oh my God, second girl, she should be fair, married off. This is the final agenda, and this is the only objective that gets associated with you, right? Now, with all of those kind of conditionings happening in our mind, the first thought that gets associated is either accept that as your reality, that okay, my ultimate goal and aim is to live like a girl and get married off, or the second part to that is, this flip side, that you start feeling demean, like, oh, being a girl is not who I want to be. I want to showcase myself as men. So I associated myself and my worth to all the personas that boys create. This is who I looked. I also associated my worth with all the successes that I would get academically. So that is where I landed, all the top institutes. I also associated my worth with all the successes and achievements that I am going to get as part of my career journeys. So 10 years of corporate journey, being an achiever, all of that. But in all of this journey, where was my self worth going? Here is when I realized where it was going. 2009, I was detected with a life-threatening disease. And at that time, how I looked, what I was doing, what I was performing, how I was achieving, everything was shattered. I was in job, but I was disoriented. I was under the impact of a lot of medicines and everything, right? And that time, my neurologist, he told me this. Imagine I do not know how many hours, how many days, how many months I have to live hereafter. And at that point in time, nothing was occurring in my mind. And that neurologist, when I used to visit him for weekly checkups and bi-weekly scans and everything, he told me this: you are an exemplary person to so many. And that day, something occurred here. I realized that in my miseries, in me not performing, in me not doing anything, there is still something that is worthwhile in me. And this fellow sitting in front of me is calling me an exemplary person to so many for my courage that I'm showing. And that day I realized few things and I accepted myself. This is who I am today. I accepted myself as a woman completely. I no more feel that being woman is lesser being. I no more associate my worth with success, with designations, with degrees. No, I am Mrinal Pareek, and I am so much more than the degrees and achievements and successes that I hold. And that gives me so much vitality and fencing around me that nobody can mess with my self-worth now, right? And this is what it is powerful. So three principles that I learned to counter the three mistakes that we were talking about, right? Here is what the power lies in us. We can love ourselves unconditionally. And if we can love ourselves unconditionally, that is no conditions whatsoever. Howsoever I look, whatever I do, whatever I achieve, doesn't matter. I love myself fully. Second, people's behavior is as per their convenience. They're going to judge you, they'll have their own agendas, which is making them judge you. That's okay. Don't let them run your life. Have your own agenda for your life. And the third thing, the way we allow others to influence us is somewhere a reflection of what we are believing about us. So the most important thing is hold yourself strongly so that everybody who's sitting outside knows that they can't mess with you. And more than them, you know, nobody has the power to shake you, right? These were the three principles that I learned, and that gave me the courage to recently, since past 5 years, I've been working to help women and men unleash their full potential. And now we have come to a place where we have a strong community getting created exclusively for women when they work on themselves and create their powerful, glorious versions. Now, all this can happen only when we have belief in ourselves. Now, here is the power shift that we have. Okay. Now, whatever actions that we do, howsoever we do act in our life, this is going to have an impact on what others see us. Now, here is our first power. If we can define how we want to act in our life, we have the power to impact others' belief of us. Now, we don't have the full control, but we have the power. How others believe us will determine how they are going to behave with us. That is, their actions get influenced by our actions. And that reinforces what we believe about ourselves. And again, that influences the actions. Now, imagine if you can hold yourself strongly at your beliefs and your action level, you have the power to turn around everything in our life, including how people see and behave with you. And with that power shift gear, this is the tool that you have. This ring, remember always, we move into understanding what role self worth has to play. Now, understand this. What is self worth? We hear a lot of terminology: self worth, self esteem, self care, self confidence. What are all of these things? So let's see. Self worth is constituted by three key things: love, that is loving yourself unconditionally; awareness, knowing who you are, what you are capable of, your strengths and your weaknesses so well that nobody can come and tell you better than that; third, accepting yourself for who you are, with all the good, bad, ugly. If we can accept ourselves and then grow from here, we are going to never lose our self-worth, right? So love, awareness, and acceptance of who we are is what creates the self-worth. Now, this leads to how much we are going to be caring for our being, that is self-care. How much we value ourselves defines how are we going to take care of ourselves. How are we going to respect ourselves, that is self-esteem. And how confident are we going to feel in our skin, that is self-confidence. So all self-care, self-esteem, self-confidence, all of these paradigms depend on one single parameter: how much worthiness do you associate with yourself? Do you feel deserving? So self-love drains from the questions of deservingness. Every time we ask internally this question, that do I deserve to be treated well? Do I deserve to be given importance? Do I deserve to succeed? All these questions that we ask ourselves drains self-love because we're putting conditions somewhere, right? So the big important thing that I told you is unconditional self-love, right? So stop questioning your deservingness. You deserve, definitely. The only thing that you have to associate with is how can I create those results? You deserve them. But how can you create them? The way to create them is to work, to take actions. But do you deserve it? You definitely deserve it. So, how much of that deservingness we give ourselves defines how much we feel valued in ourselves. Now, we were all born worthy and confident. By the way, this is me when I was born, right? No, we were all born worthy and confident. And you've heard my story, right? Now, what happened between this time and that time that I lost all my worthiness? There were a lot of thoughts, a lot of information that was being fed by people around me. There was information that I was collecting from people around me and experiences around me. There were filters, right, of how I am going to receive that information, how I am going to allow that to impact me. Because I was somewhere not holding my self worth high, right? And that drained my self worth. Now, let's understand this with a very simple diagram. And before we move into that thing, let's first build clarity. We are not going to be repeating mistakes ever, right? So we are not going to move forward until we have very profound clarity on what self-worth is, why it is important, and all of those things, right? So we need clarity on all of these things to feel confident and also to make forward movement, right? So imagine worth as value, right? We all understand money, right? Somewhere or the other we have exchanged money for something we have bought, small grocery shop, big transactions, whatever. But we understand money, right? Now, see this diagram. This is the nuts and bolts of self-worth. Now, imagine you have a pitcher full of money. This is your self-worth, okay? Now, every time we blame ourselves or we compare ourselves, we are going to be feeling what? Shame, guilt, disgust, these kind of emotions, right? Oh my God, I'm such a hopeless person. Shame. Oh my God, I didn't do enough. Guilt. Oh my God, I'm just so frustrated. How could I do that? Disgust. All of these emotions, when they come, we are somewhere finding faults, either in ourselves or in how others are behaving with us, how others are seeing us, right? So we are blaming somewhere and putting that blame on us. Now, society, on the outside, there are people who are going to be interacting with you day in and out, right? And they would be finding faults in you, blaming you for what's not right, blaming you for what's not working, blaming you for mistakes, for failures, and all of those things. And you are doing all of that again, right? Now, imagine all of these blame things that are happening in your life as if you are throwing stones on this vessel and it is causing leaks. So, coins are dropping as and when you are creating those holes in that vessel. The more you blame, the more holes, the more the self worth leaks from below. The same thing happens with comparison. And we do that so often. I am doing so less. Oh, look at him. Oh, look at her. He's doing so well. He's so successful. He's such an amazing person. Now, this is not coming from a place of appreciation. This is coming from a place of feeling less about us and putting the other person on a pedestal. And when we do that, what we are doing, I am unworthy of an underlined statement. So the point being, all of these activities, thoughts, actions, emotions that we are allowing to circulate in our system is making leaks. So everybody understood what leaks are happening, right? Now, the important thing here is that there is also an opportunity to fill the worth, right? We can all earn money, correct? How can we earn self-worth? We can earn self-worth by doing three things. One, improving our abilities. That is, learning new skills, learning new, things about life, learning more things about ourselves. All kind of learnings, education, all kind of things is about enhancing our abilities as a person. Second thing, effort. What is effort about? Effort is how much of it we are allowing ourselves to try. Whatever it is that I want to achieve in my life, how much effort am I putting in when I'm taking actions? That is second opportunity for us to fill our self-worth. And third is definitely performance, the results. Now, again, one big mistake that we do is we focus only on this performance bit and we don't focus on the ability and effort. We stop appreciating ourselves. Oh, क्या फर्क पड़ता है, इतना कुछ सीख लिया, 10th में इतना मार्क्स ले आए, डॉक्टर तो नहीं बने ना. We're taking away the credit of putting in the effort and the ability that we have taken in system, right? So all of these kind of criticisms that we allow in our life takes away the opportunity to fill the self-worth. However, none of us can deny that whosoever we have become till today, all the learnings, all the failures, all the mistakes that we've done have made us who we are today. Correct? So, if they are contributing to who we are becoming, should we be taking away the power from them to feel worthy? We shouldn't, right? But we do that. We do that because our focus is only on that tinny mini result thing. We forget about the bigger results we achieve later in life because of that ability and effort we incurred from the previous failures. And this is where the key lies. If we can allow self-worth to be filled from all of these three parameters, we can 3x the worthiness. But we only focus on results. And then what happens? It is counterintuitive. We stop making efforts towards the progress, we quit, and we stop learning, right? So we are actually minusing all the self-worth opportunities that we have been gifted with, even in that mistake, even in that failure, right? Now, awareness of what we have and telling ourselves to focus on ability effort gives us the opportunity to see growth from a point of view of this. I have not succeeded on it as yet, but I can now. Now, have you understood this entire diagram? If you have any questions around that, make a note of it right away. Okay? Because now we've understood this diagram. Now we are going to break it up and understand how we can build it by establishing powerful relationship with ourselves and by filtering influences that we allow from others. Okay? Moving on. So we've understood that self-worth, one, can be restored by preventing leak and it can be expanded. Imagine this vessel is like a constantly expandable vessel. You can make it as large as you want by filling more, right? So the second thing is you can infinitely grow your self-worth by filling more. And no, there is no end to that. Now, here is an example that I want to give you from one of my clients. She is again a very senior executive. She says this thing that when I got the right perspective of things by looking beyond my assumptions and started focusing on facts, my personal improvement goal, I could introspect on things about myself and go to areas that I wouldn't have allowed myself to go. So, this is the power of clarity. Okay. Now, let's work on repairing the leaks. We've talked about that we shouldn't be blaming and comparing. But what is it that we can do? How to do that? Very important question, right? This is normal. Blame तो होता ही है, fault तो दिखता ही है, गलती है तो पता तो चलनी ही है. How can I not blame myself? How can I not stop myself from calling it calling a wrong? A very justified and a valid reason, right? But there's always a way of doing it. You imagine your teacher coming and slapping you for making a mistake versus the teacher coming and telling you how this mistake is so detrimental in your life and how you can improve that. Which one is the chosen way? Second way, right? That slap is not giving you anything. That slap is in fact making you feel bad and worse about the miseries that you have incurred by failing. So this is the behavior that we dislike. Can we do that to ourselves? No, we shouldn't, right? We want to be the second person, the second kind of teacher that we just understood, right? So here is what we have to do. So to drop the blame. The first powerful way of improving relationship with ourselves, that is improving self-belief in ourselves, is drop the blame. The way we do that is first by understanding ourselves. Second, how we interact with ourselves on day-to-day basis. That is the conversations that we have. Are we calling ourselves, oh, you such a stupid, oh, you can't do even this? Or are we telling ourselves, You did try. I understand. This time you failed. I think this is how we can improve it. Is this the conversation, or is it like slapping on the face kind of conversation? And how we behave and support ourselves when things are not working well. Everybody is going to come and appreciate when things are going well. But what happens when things are not going well? Who will come and uplift us? If we ourselves are not going to forgive ourselves for the mistake and failures, and if we ourselves are not going to stand by us going through that failure, अगर हम खुद अपना साथ नहीं देंगे जब हम गलती कर रहे हैं, तो हम दूसरे से क्यों उम्मीद करते हैं कि वो हमारा साथ देगा या वो हमको समझ पाएगा, राइट? Why this is important? Because हम जैसा सोचते हैं, we are a reflection of what we feel, think and do. And how we are relating to ourselves is going to define the course of life. Our external relationships, how others are going to behave with us, is going to be a reflection of how we behave with ourselves. So, what we feed our mind becomes our reality. And that's why we don't want it to become our identity. Correct? So, let's do what? We have to stop saying this. Galti hua, mistake hua. We have to stop saying because of me. It wasn't because of you. It was because of some action you did, right? So replace it with what can change. What can change in that course of action that you did? Start saying, doing this action, whatever that action is, caused this outcome, the failure. I would change it to this new action and try it. And I'm hopeful that this is going to work, right? You're not going to replace an old action just like that. You must have thought through that, correct? And that is it. I have another case study of how this was killing somebody inside here mentally. One AVP with MNC thought that her relationships were falling apart because she was a feminist. She was constantly blaming her identity, her individuality, and her belief system that this is the reason why people are not accepting her. But once she gained clarity, she realized that at one end, she was feeling like a feminist. On the other hand, she was denying herself the same thing by putting conditions on how she can be accepted in her family, by her husband, by her parents. So she was constantly pleasing them. She was constantly doing things so that they approve of him. And every time they are not going to approve, she's going to become like an exploded volcano, right? She's going to burst in anger. And that anger, that frustration was actually ripping off her relationship, not her feminism. Once she realized that, she accepted herself and she started behaving appropriately with people. So that volcano was not bursting. She was getting in control with how she should be behaving with people, keeping in mind who she is. And that is the shift that we all require, right? So, shifting to the right narrative, first thing that we have to do is rather than asking ourselves what's wrong, that is coming from a place of judgment, if you can just stop doing that and come from a place of just one question. In everything that is falling apart, in everything that is going wrong, what can I understand? Once we understand that part, we know why things are not working well and how can we improve it rather than getting bogged down in finding the wrongs, right? So getting ourselves focused towards clarity is coming from here. If we keep ourselves, kind of doing rounds of finding wrong, it is not going to take us forward. The only thing that can take us forward is understanding the situation. And we can't understand when we are focused only on finding what's wrong. The second thing, when we compare, stop asking this question, what I lack. Compare and ask yourself, what is it that you can be thankful for? When we operate on our strengths, it gives us enough strength and power to create powerful results even after failure. On the contrary, if we focus on what I lack, it is going to take away the powers from us. And we can't recreate the actions that we want to do to move forward. And the third thing, when we are operating on guilt and shame, the focus is what is it that I am bad at? Stop doing that and ask yourself, what credit can I give myself? Yes, if you are a working mother, you are not spending entire day with your kid. What credit can you still give to yourself when you're coming back home? How can you behave more affectionately, more lovingly, and give yourself the space and time to spend quality time with your kid and give yourself that question, what am I doing well? You have your own reasons and they are all justified that you are making your choices. Similarly, for men, if you feel that, oh my God, I'm not doing enough for the family, I'm not doing enough for my parents, I'm not doing enough for my wife, and all of those things, stop worrying and asking questions, what am I bad about? What am I bad at? If you go on that cycle, it's not going to end ever. Start thinking about, with all these parameters of things that you have, the plethora of responsibilities and roles that you are catering to, what credit can you give yourself that is going to derive you the strength and power to do more, to better? And that's what you want. That is what you're seeking also. Correct? Now, here is another example that I want to give you, that somebody said that Mrinal helped me understand the challenge, the beliefs behind my habits and perceptions, and empowered me to use the right tools to achieve my goals. Listen to what she's saying. She's awesome in taking care of everyone's individual needs along with group. I'm really grateful for being amazingly understanding, kind towards my journey. Now, why I'm telling you this testimony here is, this is what people expect from me. As a coach, I am a third person. What stops you from giving yourself this understanding, kindness, and self realization to unleash your full potential? This is all it takes. Understand yourself. Give yourself the space to be kind to who you are, and you are going to flourish, my friends. Okay, now with that, once we have restored and made our relationships with ourselves stronger, right? We learn four ways. One, stop blaming yourself. Rather, start talking about what actions can you change. Second thing, remove the blame. Replace it with what I can understand. Third, stop comparing yourself and finding what is it that you are lacking. Start thinking about what is it that you can be thankful about in you. And the fourth thing is, what credits can you give for all the efforts and all the things that you are more than capable of doing, but you feel that, oh my God, I'm not doing enough. Okay, all right. So how can we fill? Now, filling, I already told you about those three things, right? So again, a big role to play, stories we tell to ourselves, beliefs we hold around it, and the perspectives, the way we see things, they are all very important for filling the self-worth, right? If we don't see ourselves worthy, if we don't see merit in our effort and abilities, we are not going to fill our self-worth, correct? And if we don't kind of reiterate that in our head, again, it is going to take away all the powers. So here is what we are talking about in growth, right? We've talked in detail on ability, effort, and performance. So if we can become more aware of what we have, and we can allow ourselves to grow on what we don't have as yet. It is not a full stop, it is a comma in your life, which is asking you to pause and ponder on what is it that you require to expand on, to grow on, to learn more, to improve more, to focus more with your actions and everything. So it is not a full stop. If you have still not found and figured out the ways to create that powerful result, it is just a matter of figuring out it, right? So it has not happened yet, but that doesn't mean it is not going to happen ever. Now, with that thought process in your head, the self talks and the way you perceive your life and actions are going to shift powerfully. And they are going to not let the leaks happen, but it is going to rather fill your self worth. Okay. Now, I'll leave this, skip this in the interest of time, but let's understand the outside perspective, right? Now, the way we understand, interact, and behave with others, that is, including people, resources, and our environment, for example, time, money, defines how they are going to treat us, how they are going to interact us, right? What can someone say and do to us depends on what permissions we give to them, how we choose to get affected by those interactions. Now, for that, we need to understand why this is so important. I gave you that data that we all are social beings and we all are living in this society. Everybody is going to have their own agendas and they are going to throw judgments at us, right? So it is important for us to be at the driver's seat and decide how I let people impact me. This is higher and deeper for women, but it is not absent in men. Okay, both genders equally get impacted by societal influence, and you can all reflect back on your life, how you get impacted by what your father said, what your mother said about you, how they hold opinions of you, what your boss said at office, what your colleagues said about you in the office. All of that impacts you hugely, right? So what is it that we can choose? We can choose how we allow it to influence us, and we can also choose how we get impacted by it, right? Both ways. How we do that. Now, this is the opportunity window that we have. Now, you have one asset, and that asset is where is it that you would like to focus. If you focus on things you can control, you have the opportunity to improve your effectiveness. I can control these things, and if I focus on that, I can improve them. But if I choose to focus on things that I can't control, I am wasting that opportunity, that energy, that time, that effort. Correct? And the same thing happens if I focus on things that I can't control. It is going to act as the energy wastage. I'm going to be wasting my energy. Correct? And if I ignore what I can control, I am wasting the opportunity. So the point here is if we can just bring back our focus very categorically on things that we can control, we are signing up for a better version. That is where the unleashing the full potential comes. So we strengthened our relationship with ourselves, we have gained enough clarity. But where do we focus? Things we control. Here is what we can control, because I know this is the next question that is coming. But how do I know what can I control? You can control your behavior, your beliefs, your actions, your thoughts, your values, your visions, your mindset, your responses, your choices, your attitude, your conversations you're having with yourself, your behaviors towards others, and how you allow others to impact you, your boundaries. You have all of these things in your control. And what you can't control, my dear friend, is others' opinion of you, others' thoughts, other beliefs, their behavior, their attitude, their responses, their actions, what they think of you, what happens around you. All of these things is beyond your control. You can somewhere have influence on them, but you can't control them. So here is what you can control. You can control all of these things. You can have influence on your productivity, likability, image, reputation, relationship, promotion, network, and anything that is coming to you with your designation, your profile, your learning, your education, all of those things. You have some influence there, right? But this is still not 100% in your control because the outside environment is somewhere interacting, correct? This is your circle of probable influence. Others' behavior, people who are in your very close circle, you can influence their behavior, their likings, their beliefs, their actions, but you cannot control them. And they all of these things, be it your circle of control, be it your circle of influence, be it your probable influence, there is one more thing that is in your control, and that thing is to operate with responsibility. in all of these areas where you can create impact on others and yourself. So, with that understanding, here is what I have for you. I was contacted by a doctor, and she had a role model father. And she constantly said that my father is so insulting that I lose my confidence in front of him. So she was categorically blaming her father and putting him in spot for whatever she was reaping in her life, right? She later realized that her father was also her role model, right? So his behaviors and his needs, although she was looking up to him, but they were rubbing her wrongly. And she was letting wrong sides of her father influence her. The day she realized that her father is different and she can't control his behavior and his conduct, she stopped giving her power to him. She still looked up to him for the professional and professional success that he has, but she stopped subscribing to the behaviors that he was throwing at her. So, what she did, she let go of her fear. She had conversations with him which were very powerful, setting right boundaries around how professionally, in professional setup, her father can behave with her. And she also stopped letting her father's misbehavior impact her confidence. Now, that is the power of once we realize how we operate in our circles of control. Now, this is what I had for you in terms of uplifting your self worth. Now, if you want to see yourself transform to this level, then all that I have told you is what you have to hold close to your heart and start operating around that. I can vouch for this. If you recultivate your habits around these new learned practices of preventing the leaks of self worth and refilling your self worth the way we discussed, I guarantee that nobody can take away the power from you, and you would be more successful than who you are today. Be it in your careers, in your relationships, in feeling more confident in your own skin, and also all walks of life that you have never ever explored. You're going to be more exploratory, you are going to get more creative, and you are going to go out and try new things. This is my promise to you. If you allow your self worth to increase and flourish, right? Now, just a quick thing for any women here, that I have a glorious women community that if you feel inspired, you can join in. You can write to me at connect@mrinalpareek.com. I will share link with Huma. She can post it below in description. You can join my Facebook community. That's free. You can always come in, keep learning there on all the other stuffs that my community is learning. And if you feel that you want to empower yourself with more learnings, then these are the courses that are part of the community. Of course, this is paid. You can make your choices. If you feel like, you can come in. If you don't, it's okay, stay in that free group, keep learning. I have a YouTube channel, you can subscribe to that, learn from the learn new things, new concepts there. And for men out there, I also work one-on-one, take one-on-one sessions for all men and women. So they can always come and, kind of see me, book my calendar, and book an appointment for a free clarity session and understand where is it that they want to take their life from here on. Okay, so that was about it. If you have any questions, I am ready to answer that. And with that, we come to an end of building our self-worth and unleashing our potential. I hope all the information that I've shared with you adds value to who you are and who you are becoming on this journey called life. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. It was an honor and pleasure. And I'm not sure if Huma is here. Huma, are you here?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Yeah, okay.
It was very informative, very insightful, very boosting, energetic for women, for everyone. Such a nice session was it, ma'am. I can't say. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Huma. Thanks for having me here. And I wish everybody who's joined and who's listening to us best wishes for this new year that we've entered. Happy 2023 to everyone, including you, Huma. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
And
Thank you, ma'am.
all right, thanks. Bye bye.
Thank you. Have a great day, ma'am. Thank you.
Bye.